Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Kathy. Now we're going to review this West Virginia State Police investigation for fraud on Eric Carroll and Patrick Roark. That was opened on September 15th, the day this article was written. And interesting. Now today, which is November 2nd, there is talk going around that Eric has settled privately with the Whitakers to pay him some money. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but even if it is, it does not get Eric out of this investigation. And it does not prevent the Whitakers from suing him for more later. I mean, I don't know if he wrote a contract that's all they're going to get, but again, you need a lawyer. So whether he paid them or not, it doesn't get him off the investigation. So we're going to continue to put out some information out there that may help the West Virginia State Police and give possible some valuable information here. So we're going to look at this and review it. It is... most of you have seen this and reviewed it. West Virginia State Police investigating fraudulent scheme linked to local Whitaker family. Now, the article written on September 15, 2025 says Beckley, West Virginia, Loot Press, and it was in many different news outlets. So the Beckley detachment of the West Virginia State Police is investigating a fraudulent scheme involving money and merchandise being sent to a Raleigh County family. According to an incident report, the scheme has been ongoing since June 20th, 2025 until until September 15th, 2025. Now let's look at these dates, especially this one right here. June 20th, 2025. And June 20th is when Eric will shut down the GoFundMe, and this is the day, June 20th, is when they signed the contract to make videos. Because they're really, I haven't seen the contract, and speaking of the contract, also what I've heard about that contract that was signed on June 20th, I heard that so Eric signed a copy, Patrick signed a copy, and the Whitakers had a copy. Now, all three parties had copies for a third, and a third. And now I don't think Eric was here in person. I'm not sure. Because somebody said that the copies that the Whitakers received had no signatures on it, just theirs. So Eric somehow signed the contract, but Whitakers don't have one with Eric's signature on it. And if that's the case, that's really dirty rotten. That's premeditated. But I don't think it would get you out of anything. Maybe it would, maybe it wouldn't. And that's just a rumor that. But nonetheless, the contract was signed on June 20th, and as of this day here, when Eric broke the contract, in my opinion, walking away breaks the contract, right? And as a matter of fact, this video right here, Friday, September 5th, and this video right here, he says this is the day of the big blow up. He said he saw BJ on the property. He's done. He's He's washing his hand. He's going home. He's done. So this is really the day that Eric broke the contract. He didn't leave town yet because, he had that business to do Monday morning. He hung around for the Whitakers to be taken away. But this is Friday the 5th of September, and this is the day that Eric officially broke the contract because he, multiple times in here, he said he's done. He's done working with Whitakers. He's not going to do the house. He's done. He's going back to Georgia, and he's done. So that breaks Eric's contract. Eric's job was to produce content and be in charge of the money. But this is the day, officially, that Eric broke his side of the contract. Because as of this day here, the Whitakers' job was to be the Whitakers. Okay, the Whitakers' job was to be the Whitakers, and they're still Whitakers. You know what I mean? And as a matter of fact, Patrick, as far as I know, also didn't break the contract. Because Patrick's job was to film the Whitakers and do, come up with ideas to produce content. Okay? And that's even what Dwayne said. Eric's job was to run the show. Patrick's job was to help create it. Of course, Eric did content too. That's where he, padded his expenses. We'll get into that in a minute. But in my opinion, he's really, really padded the expenses. We'll go over that. But Eric's job was to produce content and get it out there and all those other things he said he's really good at. And so Eric's job was to do that. Well, then this day, Eric stopped doing his job. Patrick is still doing his, broken leg or not. Whitakers were still being Whitakers, but Eric is the one who he's the one who stopped doing the content. Okay, now date on this, look, is September 5th, 2025. Even his partner, Dwayne here, his best friend he talks to every day, is really, really confused because Eric's calling everything off. Everything. The house, the project, the videos, everything. He's calling it off. He's going home. Many times, the chat and Dwayne himself asked over and over and over through this whole entire live stream, what about the money? What about the money? And Eric kept saying, I don't know. And so he's saying he's done. He's calling it quit. And this is September 5th, 2025. And it was like maybe a month later. Okay, maybe a month later, and sometime I think in October, when Brian Cody went and did a video with the Whitakers or something, that Eric said, oh, you broke the contract. You're doing videos with somebody else. Well, wait a minute. You quit on September 5th. You did, Eric. Eric, you quit on September 5th. Whitakers didn't quit. Patrick didn't quit, but you quit. You're the head of everything, charge of the money, the production, and everything. And you quit, not them. So a month later, when somebody comes and videotapes them and put up a video on their channel, and I don't even think they got anything. Maybe groceries, I don't even know. But it doesn't matter. So what? That was a month after you, in my opinion, broke the contract. You're the one who broke your end of the deal. And not only that, but nobody came, Brian Cody or anybody, nobody came and wrote a new contract with the Whitakers. Nobody came and started doing regular movie videos with the Whitakers. Nobody started doing all these things. I think it was a one-time deal. And so that is the weakest breaking contract of the Whitakers' fault I've ever seen in my life. In fact, it's very blatantly obvious that on September 5th, 2025, when he did this video, he said he's done. Nobody else said they're done except Eric. So how can he say they broke the contract? That is ridiculous. And this could be good evidence for the lawsuit. Okay, now in this article on September 15th about this, in every article, okay, because they put out the same message that was issued by the police department, the state police. It says the money and goods were sent to the Whitaker family under the names Eric Carroll and Patrick Roark. And if you remember, the money, both Eric and Patrick were in charge of, not Eric the majority, but Patrick was still in charge of some of the Whitakers' money. But those two were the ones who were in charge of the money. They're the only ones under investigation. And as far as the goods, remember Patrick funneled everything to his house. All the donations came into his house. And the Whitakers were complaining that their packages were all open before they got them. Patrick would bring them over when he was whenever he felt like it, and the packages were open. So they could have easily gotten a PO box. They had months to do it, and they never did. So yeah, and it says troopers identified the suspects as John Patrick Roark, 46, and of Odd, West Virginia, and Lawrence Eric Carroll, 41, of Waverly Hall, Georgia. Investigators are requesting that anyone who has sent money or merchandise to Roark, Carroll, or any other individuals connected with the Whitaker family contact state police and provide information about the transactions. And that's another thing. Since they shut down that GoFundMe, they had multiple avenues where cash and donations were coming in. So it says the case is being handled by Corporal J.W. Gilkison of the Beckley Detachment. Anyone with information is asked to call 304-256-6700. Now, speaking of Corporal Gilkison and calling Gilkison, we know somebody who actually called Corporal Gilkison. Now, who could ever forget Jeff Morgan? I had to get my laughing out of the way photo because it makes me laugh. But not only did this Jeff Morgan here call Corporal Gilkison, well, he recorded the initial call that he made right here, and we can see him. He's calling the phone number that I just said that Corporal Gilkison put out to contact him, and he was gone for the day, so the receptionist answered the call, and Jeff Morgan here laid it out fast as he could how Eric was the pastor's son. It must be a big mix-up. It's 100% dead end. I know him. I just heard about this. Now, so it looks like Jeff here. And actually, let me go over a few things. I'm not going to play his video here, but this is the part where he calls Corporal Gilkison. And if Corporal Gilkison is watching this video, I want you to know that, well, you definitely would remember this guy, okay? So just listen.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you taking my call. Thank you so much.
Of course. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Okay, that's where Jeff, he's got that smile on his face like he just knocked it out of the park. Okay, he's proud of what he just did. He at first he didn't understand why she just didn't call off the investigation, but he's going to talk to Corporal, and I hope he did get through. And what he probably said, because I think he's got a list of PowerPoints that I have. I think I might have his list right here. He said, fast as he could. Same thing that he did. He told us first in the video up till here, and then he calls and leaves a message with the receptionist. And he just read off real quickly. He's known Eric Carroll for 5 years. He doesn't know what's being investigated for. So he doesn't even know what Eric's being investigated for. But he said he doesn't know what he's being investigated for, but this is insanity. He's an upright man. He's a son of a pastor. He helps people. Not sure what they're trying to investigate him for. Jeff said I live in Dallas. I've traveled with Eric. He takes losses from people. 100% this should be a dead end. And then he questioned whether this was maybe it was all for media, for the that the state police was putting out this fraud investigation just for media purposes. And anyway. But yeah, he even insinuated, well, he didn't insinuate, he flat out said, I don't know if you're doing this for media purposes. Anyway, and he said it's horrifying for Eric, which I'm not sure. Listen, if Eric has nothing to worry about, I'm not sure why he's horrified of a fraud investigation if he's innocent. You know what I mean? Usually only the people that are guilty are, are what did he say? Horrified. And then he repeats again, 100% I'll vouch for him. So here, Jeff is vouching for him. He said he's known him 5 years. And then he said, first he said he's son of a pastor, then he rounds up the conversation. He's the son of a minister. So not sure which is which. And then he's also walking in the footsteps of his father. And this is just one of those cases where no good deed goes unpunished. So Jeff here is trying his best. He probably hasn't even talked to Eric. I don't know. He didn't say he did. But he said he just found out about this investigation. Now, look, this was on September 21st, okay? September 1st. So this is just days after September 15th when it opened, 6 days later. Jeff put out this video trying to help his friend Eric, who he kind of knows. He's vouching, okay? So he wants the police to know he's vouching. But if you might not know, but Jeff has actually gone a step further. Not just a what would you call this? A character witness? Maybe he's probably being a character reference for Eric, even though he doesn't even know what the investigation's for. But he's gone further from being a character, reference for Eric. He's actually, what, in my opinion, maybe even crossed the line to obstructing justice. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying he did, but this is something else that Corporal Gilkison may want to consider. So I'm sure if Corporal Gilkison got a phone call from this guy, he would definitely remember him. Now, what's kind of funny is he vouches for Eric because he's known him for 5 years, okay? But even knowing him for 5 years, there was a gap in there of a few years they didn't talk. So, okay, you met him 5 years ago. You had a gap where you didn't talk, but now you're back to be a character witness. But like I said, may have stepped over the line here, Jeff. Because if you go down into the comments section now, mind you, in this video, all right, in this video, he says that he brings up Patrick, who's also part of this investigation. So he's pointing the finger at Patrick, saying that he's got a criminal history. So he's pointing the finger at Patrick, okay? Even though he doesn't know what anything is about, he claims he doesn't know what this is all about, but he's pointing the finger at Patrick Roark, saying he's got a bad history of criminal record. Then he even goes as far as pointing the finger at the Whitakers, saying the Whitakers can't be trusted. So he's blaming Patrick and the victims here, of the victims of the fraud. He's even saying that they, are shady. So he's throwing shade at the Whitakers. So remember that, okay? He's blaming the victims and the other person that's being investigated, but not Eric. All right. Now notice real quick, as of today, November 2nd, he has got almost 10,000 views on this, okay? Remember that. If Corporal Gilkison is listening, keep that in mind. 10,000 people have seen this, okay? Now, if you go down here to the comment section, because if you go on the top comments, you're not going to see it, because Jeff should have pinned it, but he didn't. So if you go up here and you sort by newest comments, you're going to see that Jeff here, the one that called Corporal Gilkison to give a character witness for Eric and against Patrick and the Whitakers, put a comment here that I see as trying to derail the investigation, in my opinion. Because I don't know what Corporal Gilkison told Jeff Morgan, all right? But according to Jeff, right after this, and he talked to the West Virginia State Police here, right after September 21st, he put this message up. I don't know how long after, but it was after he talked to the police. He put this message up. It says, Eric has been completely cleared. He was never really a part of the investigation as the paper stated. Really. Had it not been for Eric, there may not have been an investigation. even though we saw the text where Patrick was threatening Dwayne to have those guys call him or he's going to get the state police involved. But it said, had it not been for Eric, there may not have been an investigation. So he's implying that Eric initiated this investigation. And that's actually what Eric claimed in one of his videos. He did this at great personal financial cost to himself. So right here, he said Eric has been completely cleared. He was never really part of an investigation, as the paper stated. Now remember, Jeff is, he's got his mind made up that this is just for publicity purposes for West Virginia State Police. That's what he even told the receptionist. So since September, the end of September and now, which has been about, 4 to 6 weeks later, you have had 10,000 people be told and informed that there is no longer an investigation. So there's no need to get a hold of the state police. He's been cleared. Now, out of these 10,000 people, well, if 10,000 people believe that Eric has been completely cleared and he was never really a part of the investigation and that Eric is the one who initiated it, well, then nobody's going to get a hold of the police, will they? Nobody's going to get a hold of Corporal Gilkison in the West Virginia State Police because Eric has been cleared, right? They're going to think, well, he's cleared. I was going to get a hold of Corporal Gilkison about some money or some merchandise regarding this case, but I don't have to now because if I believe Jeff Morgan, Eric was never really part of this investigation, all right, that the West Virginia State Police put out on every single newscast out there that these are suspects in the investigation. But if you believe Jeff Morgan, who got a hold of Corporal Gilkison in the West Virginia State Police, if you believe Jeff, the police somehow, and you saw him talking and leaving a message for Corporal Gilkison. But I haven't seen one single article put out that Lawrence Eric Carroll, 41 of Waverly Hall, has been cleared. I have not seen anything where neither one of them, Patrick or Eric, has been cleared. So why is Jeff Morgan trying to interfere with this investigation? Because what Jeff Morgan did was called Corporal Gilkison, all right, at this phone number here, and he told Corporal Gilkison that, Eric shouldn't be investigated and all that. And what makes it more believable is that we seen Jeff leave a message to talk to Corporal Gilkison, didn't we? He said it's insanity. He needs the corporal to call him. So there's a lot of people who are just going to, assume that Corporal got back to him and said there's no investigation. In fact, it was just for media purposes, and Eric was never really the one investigated. Now, that's absolutely opposite of what we heard Corporal Gilkison put out there. So is Corporal Gilkison telling us a lie, or is Jeff telling us a lie? Because 10,000 people in the last month or two have been under the impression that Eric has been completely cleared. Now, like I said, this is going to make people not send any information in. So not only is Jeff openly saying that he's going to vouch for Eric and this cannot be, he's also going to put it out there that you don't need to contact Corporal Gilkison. The whole thing was called off, at least for Eric. Eric has been completely cleared. Now, Corporal Gilkison, is this true? If so, you should put out some news stories about that, because if Jeff here is wrong, he's telling people that Eric was never a part of the investigation. He's been cleared. So I believe that's obstructing justice there. I believe he's, now the corporal can figure that out, but Jeff here, I think, has gone a step too far, in my opinion. Now, another thing I think is related to the fraud investigation, a couple more things, is, and this here is the live stream, the second to the last one he did. This is a live stream where he said he's done. September 5th, he said he's done with Whitaker's. He's walking away. He's basically breaking the contract, right? Now, in this video, I'm going to go over the part where Eric's about the donations, okay? Because part of the investigation said gifts or donations. And this has to do with the donations, the donation money. Now, in this clip, Eric said that he put in the contract that the Whitakers are going to get 100% of the donations. Now, anyway, so to me, donations are donations, right? Whether it be whatever, including these super chats here, because the super chat is a gift. It's not. It's, to me, it doesn't seem like it would be part of the video revenue, but an actual gift. Now, whether that's true or not, I'm going to show you where Eric says, now, donations rolling in on these live streams, the only way that you can get a question through is if you put money on it, okay? Because Dwayne was taught right away, first day, to only read the comments that have money attached, because they're probably going to be a positive one. Not always, though. And I do believe that there was a lot of comments that were paid that weren't read because it didn't fit the agenda. Now remember, this is the day that Eric said that he's calling it quits. The day that he's going to break the contract. He's done. He's not going to make no more videos. He's not going to do his third of the job. He's not going to do anything. He's done. He's going to go home. So now some people are, for some reason, wanting Eric to take all the money and go home. But somebody said, Eric, all the donations should be going to you and your family for the sacrifices you and they made. Please take that and do something nice for them. Okay, now let's see what Eric has to say about that. We're going to put it up here because sometimes seeing the words with your eyes, it helps for me because you'll hear it and you'll see it. So that's why I put the closed captions up here. So, all right, let's see what he's got to say about that.
True vintage, $5. Eric, all the donations should be going to you and your family for the sacrifices you and they made. Please take that and do something nice for them.
So I'll go a step further. I've never even told anybody this, just to show you how much it protected the Whitakers. When we did that, when we made a contract, I put in there specifically 100% of donations go to the Whitaker family.
Yep.
Gifts and money.
Yep.
Talking about off social media, but if people like donating money, 100%, I'll put that in the contract.
He says talking off of social media. Okay, so that means off of here. So these super chats here are going, I'm assuming, into the big pot that they're supposed to split 3 ways, right?
Yep.
So now you know.
Now you know.
Yeah.
Not only did he put it in the contract, Dwayne says he's seen it.
So now you know.
Yep. I've seen it.
He's seen it.
All right, Kimberly, $4.99.
So where would these other donations be, right? Where did the donations go? And so if anybody listening here donated, and I don't blame you, it seemed like a good cause. So if anybody donated, where did you donate to? I mean, was there a PayPal, a Cash App? Was there a spot on YouTube? I mean, where besides the social media are people getting a chance to donate. You know what I mean? So that, but anyway, he said 100% of the donations. Well, all right. Where would we find these other donations? Because now the only time I have seen donations is when they donate on here. And by the way, I don't know if you guys saw this, but this Blade Walker person, I think it's a man. He donated a lot, and over and over and over. And he also told everybody he's only got weeks to live, and he's given his money to Eric because he trusts him. A dying man. And that was, what was this? 2 months ago, so that man may even have passed over by now. But yeah, he took a dying man's money under this, during this day even. As he's calling it quits, he's still letting the money come in. You know what I mean? And people in the chat are saying, why are you still taking money? People stop donating money. He's quitting. He's quitting. Why are people keep donating if he's quitting? But that Blade Walker guy, I think it was a guy, whoever it was on his last days. And Eric took it without even batting an eye. So let's listen in.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of people have donated, and some people have questions and comments. You got Tippers 8.
So yeah, so is this where they're donating? Is this the only place that they're donating? Because if so, how are the Whitakers going to get 100%? 100% of nothing is nothing. If this is the only place to donate, then what are they getting 100% of? They didn't even get 100% of the gifts that were sent. You know what I mean? Give me a break. So yeah, so people have been donating.
And a lot of people have donated, and some people have questions and comments. You got Tippers 8099, the Super Sticker, Texas got us. Larry BJ moving into the
$1.99. $1.99.
Woodsman Adventures, $1. Donna James.
Hold on. Wait. Now notice the amounts, okay? $1.99.
Sticker, Texas got us. Larry BJ moving into the new house. Betty knows. Woodsman Adventures, $1.
99 cents. 99 cents.
M Family had see here.
$4.99.
Krista Maddox has been commenting. BJ was bailed out and the house property was used as collateral. We have the link that can be sent showing it.
We knew that.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
See, little Kimmy.
Wait a minute.
Super sticker.
Stop. Wait. They just said BJ used the property to get bailed out. Well, she got bailed out a month ago. A month ago. Eric, if you knew she used the property to get bailed out of jail, he said, yeah, we knew that. Well, you just called the deal off today because you saw BJ on the property. So if you knew she got bailed out a month ago or whatever, or at any time before today, how come this morning you were showing everybody how happy you're popping champagne corks because this morning, on the morning of this morning, September 5th, you are celebrating that the Amish are going to build the house this morning. So when was it that you're going to tell us that BJ got bailed out using the house property for collateral? That makes no sense. And she would have gotten out for $500. You don't need the house for collateral on $500. And he just went along with it. Yeah, I knew it. So number one, why wouldn't you bring that up? Say, hey, Amish are going to build the house, but, BJ's got the bail bondsman, he's involved now. No, you didn't. BJ was bailed out. Used the property for collateral.
Used as collateral.
What does Eric say?
That can be sent showing it.
We knew that.
Yeah. See, little Kimmy.
And douche just confirmed it. Yeah, we knew that.
BJ.
Well, like I said, this morning you're going to build a house, and then you went to the, and when you showed the, how come this whole entire video, how long has this been on? Is 2 hours. How come the first 2 hours when you're telling us how the surveyor map and you had the permits and you had everything going, How come you didn't say, except, you never brought that up. Now that somebody else is saying it, yeah, we knew it. Just one more thing to try to make BJ and the Whitakers look bad. And it's not even true. He just co-signed for that. But as you can see, here's another $5
Colonel Dunn, or
super
$5
chat.
Don't build the house,
Right.
Eric. Will be taken over by Larry and BJ.
Don't build the house. And this is what he wants. He wants people. Okay, now here's the only big one. I'm showing this for a reason. If you ever look over here, you will see these super chats come up, right? Now, I'm not really familiar with the super chats and how to make them come and go and all that stuff. No, but Eric doesn't have to do it. He's got Dwayne over here who knows how to pull them up and pull them down, okay? Now, this is the only big one I've saw, and I'm going to show you why. $150. Now, why did he show this one? Because he was going, and have any of you noticed? I noticed this one day, and but this was like way at the beginning, guys. When Dwayne started, I can't remember what day it was. I think he was here a week or two, but from the time Dwayne came on, these large donations started disappearing off the screen. Well, he wouldn't even put them on the screen. He only put the ones like 99 cents, $1.99, and all this other stuff. But these big ones never got up on the screen. Now, this is a rare time that you will see it on the screen. And I thought, why? Well, read it. Eric, I would like this to go to you, capital letters, you, to help with some of your cost. I know it's not much, but it will help. You're a godsend, and I love your heart. All right? Yeah. Him. $150 to spend on himself. All right? Because he's got everybody convinced that all this is coming out of my pocket. All right? To help you with some of your costs. Now, let's look at this. Now, I was going to say, now, have any of you noticed that when there was a large donation, it would disappear and it wouldn't even go on the screen? Because I did. One day, I saw somebody, he's putting up $1.99 and $4.99. Those are normal. But when something big comes through, I'm like, whoa. And one came through one day for $500. And I'm thinking, whoa, man, somebody just gave $500. And everybody in the chat saying, wow, And Dwayne never put it up on the screen and never acknowledged it. And people over in the chat were going crazy. Hey, Dwayne, you missed a $500 super chat. I'm sure some of you saw that. The chat was going crazy. Dwayne, you missed this $500. I missed the $500. That was as soon as Dwayne got on, and I'm thinking, that's weird. He's showing all these $1.99, 99-cent one, $4.99, but it's like he purposely did not show it. And I'm thinking, God, that's weird, because everybody, capital letters, even all caps, Dwayne, you missed the $500. Anyway, I'm thinking, why is he ignoring that? That is so weird. But here we go. So anyway, this particular day, when Eric called off the deal and he's quitting and he's going to take the money and go home, the chat is going crazy with questions like, wait, what about the money? What about the money? And matter of fact, I must have recorded Dwayne 10 times asking him, everybody wants to know, what about the money? Money. Eric would never give a straight answer. He said it was going to go into a trust. He's going to do this, that. Never a straight answer. But people are asking about the money. So this is, I thought this is weird. They actually showed 150 because they were coming in. I don't know why, but this last one here, while all the people are saying, quit donating. He just quit. Stop donating. There's no house. People coming in didn't even know, because this morning everybody was celebrating. So people don't know, and they're pouring in money in this side. So the chat is telling each other, like, what's going on? Where's all this money going? What's going to happen to them? Now, a few people are saying Eric should take it, but that's not his to take. So on this one here, where he called the deal off, a lot of people were asking, hey, wait a minute, what about all this money? And this is from that chat that night on September 5th, same video. I'm ready to see this, and somebody else is seeing exactly what I saw. All right, now these are comments. Here's another. Now, this was a lot that night. When Eric called that deal off, I was just a donator and I feel scammed. Yes, a lot of people are saying this is a scam. This is a scam. And, okay. Here, I was just a donator. I feel scammed. Everybody was in there saying, hey, what about my money? And some people were saying, I want my money back. I want my money back. All right. Then I saw this comment, and this is I donated money. Where will it go for? This is all night. People saying, wait a minute, what about our money? Okay, this is our money we donated. Now you're saying you're quitting it. Well, wait. All right. Then somebody writes. Of course, he had turned everybody against Betty that night, saying it's all her fault. There you go. So as you can see, he's got everybody blaming Betty and Larry. Okay. Larry, mean faces for Larry. Larry's scum. Betty's horrible. She canceled the deal. And see, people are saying Eric's robbing us. He's ripping us off. Other people are like, how? Okay. Now, here we go. Here you go, right here. Simply Updated wrote, why do you keep deleting the big donations out of the chat? Exactly. I'm not the only one that noticed. Anything over $100 was deleted. And then, like I said, I noticed on that $500. I'm thinking, wow. Not only did Dwayne absolutely know it, it seems like he intentionally skipped over it, but then he also was ignoring all the cries in the chat. Hey, what about that $500 one? Why aren't you showing it? So yeah, why do you keep deleting the big donations out of the chat? To make it look like he's not getting much. So why is he showing this $150 one? Because they want it to go all to Eric, okay? That's the only reason they're showing it. Now, like I said, where's all these other donations? Where are they supposed to go? What 100% of donations are the Whitakers getting? So see, he just made it sound like Whitakers are getting 100% of all donations. So, you know what I mean? What donations, Eric? I think you're double talking to make people think that, because what other donations besides these are there? So telling everybody that everything's coming out of my pocket makes it sound like he's not getting reimbursed. Now, after somebody gives him this $150, like I was shocked they even showed it, it says, I would like to help with some of your costs. Because why is she saying that? Because he has gone out of his way to make people believe this is all coming out of his own bank account, out of his pocket, out of his funds. And he's not getting reimbursed. But watch this. We're going to keep going.
Eric, I would like this to go to you to help with some of your costs. I know it's not much, but it will help. You're a godsend. I love your heart.
Thank you, Tammy. I spent a lot of money while I was up here, guys.
All right, watch.
That's my stack of receipts for the last week.
I spent a lot of money, you guys. That's my stack of receipts for this last week. Now, did he say, don't worry, I'm going to get reimbursed like I always have every month? No. Tammy or whoever gave that money said, I would like to, for your costs. Here's for some of your costs. So he just reassures everybody that, yeah, this is my cost and I'm not getting reimbursed for it.
$50. Eric, I would like this to go to you to help with some of your costs. I know it's not much.
Does he say that he gets reimbursed? Nope.
It will help. You're a godsend. I love your heart.
Thank you, Tammy. I spent a lot of money while I was up here, guys. That's my stack of receipts for the last week, folded up in my wallet.
Listen.
Mode.
You hear Douche? Douche is off to the side, also known as Mark, his friend Mark. Mark is off to the side, and he reminds everybody it's all out of your pocket, Eric. And Eric agrees, okay? So they're pulling this charade off that this is all coming out of Eric's pocket. And we know, we've seen him actually show us his reimbursement each month. And it was like $10,000 for 1 month. Okay, so Douche off to the side here says, yeah, and it was all out of your own pocket.
My stack of receipts for the last
Even
week.
Douche is saying, my pocket.
Mode.
Out of his own pocket. And he said, yep. Now, is this receipts for all summer? Nope. He said just this week.
For the last week, folded up in my wallet.
Those are receipts for the last week. Look how many receipts are in there. For the last week, okay? We're going to go over that.
Damn it. I spent a lot of money while I was up here, guys. That's my stack of receipts for the last week, folded.
Okay, for the last week. Let's look at the last week, shall we? Because this is September 5th, Friday.